continue. At least the majority of you have a problem hearing me. Otherwise, I have to continue. Okay. So what I just say is that we have to find a way to measure you guys learning. So the way I used to do is that I assign I ask people to find an essay topic, and then based on this topic, what you learned in the course, and try to come up with some idea and write a proper essay, and then I give you the score based on this essay. But before I give you the score, you have to have a presentation. Otherwise, I might have some doubts. You might plagiarize from other people. So a proper presentation is necessary. That's what I did when I was teaching probably last 2 years, and it goes well. And I like this style as well. But now it's about online lecture. So let's see how it goes. And because surveying is very practical subject. So even I ask you to write an essay that will be based on the real surveying. And but if you are still using online things, maybe it's hard for you to do some real surveying. So you'll see if you all come back to the classroom, real classroom, we'll use do some real surveying, and then let you finish the essay based on the real surveying. Real means you have to go outside and under the sun bath, and then measure what you learned from the classroom, and then apply them in the real field. That's the purpose and the main idea. Otherwise, you learn a lot, but you don't know how to use it. That's pointless. And I also try to borrow some machines from the university as well. So, but that will not only happens once the class begins and everyone go back to the university. So, how long will that take? No one knows. So that's also a basic idea, like to borrow the real machines to let you guys get your hands on. Otherwise, you can only look at the videos. And Rooney say you cannot join. You mean you cannot join a group? You cannot join a group. So what the problem is? Let me post a link again and click links link. I guess the majority of you shouldn't have a problem being to this online lecture room. So, Rooney, could you just click this link and see if you can get through? I guess it's just a link. Maybe you don't need any application. Use application. Maybe you don't need it. I don't know. If you click it, maybe you need just a computer. It's better to use computer, I guess, because it's a mobile phone is very small. But at least you don't have a computer in hand. Otherwise, I recommend you guys using use the computer. Is easier, and you can also record everything you see as well. Okay. So we have a which application? Maybe you mean it doesn't work on computer, really? I don't think it doesn't work on computer because the link I gave to you guys is just a website. So you're supposed to click it, and through your web page, maybe you're supposed to see me through your web page. I'm not sure, but supposedly. Okay, so how many of you still cannot get into this link or see my screen? How many of you? Now we have 31 people. How many of you can see my screen? Hello. You can see good. Okay, you can see my screen and keep on. I want to make sure. So great. Okay, so if you still cannot see the screen, maybe you can in private ask some of our colleague and some of our classmates. Maybe they will try to help you out. Otherwise, the course have to continue. So, all right, let's continue. So, what am I going to do now is we are going to look into the course itself. So, if there is, by the way, although it's an online lecture, so I try to make it as real as possible. What I mean is that in a real classroom, we have homework as well. So as real as possible means we also have to assign homework to you guys. Otherwise, you are just watching. Supposedly you are watching. So and doing nothing that won't help too much. So we still need some homework to make sure everyone learns something. Otherwise, when the class really begins, you don't know too much. That will be a huge problem. Okay, so just to let you know, we also have a homework. And homework basically is a weekly homework. It means I will assign the homework and you finish weekly. Like for example, we have a Thursday, right? So the homework might be assigned on today and on Thursday. Maybe a bit in each week, each section, but you only have to submit before next Tuesday. So it means that you have pretty much whole week to finish your homework. And the homework basically is not a very difficult one, just a small exercise to make sure you listen to what I say about the lecture. So basically it's based on what I told you in the lecture. So it won't be something very difficult. It's just some basic revision for you guys to finish. So, and by the way, it's not a guarantee we will have an essay in the end. If the online lecture keep on going like this, and or some the majority of you still not here, then we probably have to resort to online test. I don't even know how to do the online test because how am I be sure you really do the testing by yourself? But anyway, no one is going to do the testing for you, I guess. We'll find a way. I prefer to have an essay written rather than testing. So let's see. But if a lot of people don't participate in this class, then the last result might be just do the test, final exam. Otherwise, it's hard to tell who have learned, who haven't. So just to let you know. All right. So that's basically whole things you need to know. So without further ado, let's come to the lecture. So let's go to your textbook first. So let me grab the textbook first. So since you can see my screen, so it's easier now. Whatever I show you in my screen, you will see it directly. So Okay. So widget here. So I have to shorten the widget. It's hard to make it smaller. Just in case you need to content. Should I just close this widget screen because it's a huge one. I try to make smaller, but it seems it doesn't work. Anyway, so I just if you have any problem, you can just call my widget. Then I hear a voice. Then I'll look at this screen. Okay. Otherwise, this occupy too much space. Hard for me to continue. So I just drag this one to the corner, and so I won't be see this one. But if you have any question, just give me a call, and then I can hear you. And if you want to type, how can I solve this problem? If you type, I don't know if type. Anyway, okay, I will from time to time I'll drag this up and see if you have new information coming. Okay, so could you see the book, the cover of the book? Could you see? Okay, very good. You can see it. Okay, so that means basic stuff. Otherwise, it's hard to understand the whole subject. So just let you know, in surveying, you need a lot of subjects. You need statistics. We'll come to statistics bit. So I won't dive into the book straight away, but I try to get around and some basic idea, some basic knowledge, background knowledge, because we have almost 50 people, and I don't know the background of you. But so I assume you don't have a strong background knowledge in all the mathematics stuff I mentioned. So I'll try to give you some basic idea as well. So that won't take too much time, but that's what you need. Okay, so surveying. Let's come to the meaning of this book. The meaning of this book. By the way, this book is from internet, so don't sell it online or doing some commercial behavior. Otherwise, you might get a penalty or something. But purely for educational purpose, I think that should be fine. But don't just copy or make a copy sell online or something. I bet you won't do it, but just let you know. Okay, so let's take a look at the menu. The contents. So the word is very small. So let me try to make it larger. Okay. And you can see the content let me show you how many chapters we have. The content basically we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9 chapters. It's not a huge one. Some of the book have 20 chapters. Some even have 25 chapters. So 7 chapters is not a huge one. And what we can do for 32 course hours, at least, you can't guarantee because the more you learn, the better because you pay to learn, right? So, and there is a practical stuff. So, in some sense, the more you learn, the better you can, the better stuff you can get. So, you shouldn't expect to learn few, or you should expect to learn more. But since we have a limited time, so we can't guarantee you learn more. Otherwise, you learn a lot, but you don't know anything. So we try to get you familiar with some basic one. So at least we have to go through chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and chapter 4, and some of the chapter 5. As for 6 and 7, 8 and 9, we have a 9 chapter. And 9, we will just jump, pick up the one related to the first, let's say, five chapters. So for the first 4 chapters. So for chapter 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we will just jump, only pick up those that is consistent with the 4 chapters that are much more related to your practical learning. Okay, so someone say your mobile battery is dead. You don't have a wire or something. You should plug to your socket, and then, or maybe you don't have a socket. Anyway, so battery is dead. That's a huge problem. So, but anyway, try to charge it, recharge your battery, and come back as soon as possible. Otherwise, the course keep on going. I know it's internet, so you have all sorts of problem. I can't solve your problem, but all I can say is I try to solve it as soon as possible. We can't delay because of just a couple of people. We have to continue because it's a proper course. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We target the first 4 chapter first, and after this 4 chapter, you should have a very solid idea about the surveying because all these 4 chapters are the very basic one and very practical one, and the first chapter is about the other light. The other light basically is a machine measuring the angle, measuring the distance, and also the things. So it's very practical. So it means that in chapter 4, you should be able to reach the real stuff. And at that time, I hope we already have our real class. Then you can have some field study. You can just go out and then measure the something in on campus. Okay, so chapter 1 is about arrows. You look at the title of the chapter 1, and chapter 1 is called Arrows in Measurements and their propagation. So arrows in measurements is easy to imagine because arrows comes from many. For the section 1.1, you have arrows types or type of arrows. So you can imagine all sorts of arrows. Like if you want to measure something, like for example, the simplest one, you want to measure the 2 points from A to B. Then what you can use is you can use tabs. You can use not only tabs, you can use other stuff like a laser. Basically, it's a laser, but you'll be in a package like theodolite or maybe your substance bar different kind of package, but the basic idea is the same. Okay, so what's his problem? So Fayas, what's your problem? Or you just want to show me? You can see my screen. Okay, so arrows. Imagine we'll see the types of arrows. And why is so important? Why is in the chapter 1? Of course, some book arrange this chapter in like chapter 4, chapter 5, but I guess it's important to put in the chapter 1. Why? Because for the measure itself, it's easy. You just set up the machine, follow the procedure, then you can measure what you like. It's easy. The machine is not a lot difficult. It's just you haven't get your hands on, so you think maybe it's very complicated. Indeed, it's not that complicated. It's just a machine. It's just a wear a pair of glass. Do you feel difficult wearing a pair of glass? No. Did you feel like difficult in using mobile phone? No. Why? Because they are simple. They are easy. They are made to be simple. So the machine itself is simple. But since it's so simple, it contains a lot of errors. It means why do we care about errors? Because why do you have to think about one problem? Why do we need surveying? Surveying basically to give you some people the authority that measurement is persuasive and in some sense it's almost correct. You cannot say it's correct. You can only say it's almost correct. Why is almost? Because no one knows the correct number. There's always an error. So here we have to study the error first. What kind of type of error and how are you going to deal with that errors? So this is the book we use, and we also use the other book because this book is not enough. We need other books as well. You might wonder why. It's very simple because a book cannot contain everything, so we need another one as well. So I'll treat them as a complementary. It means that from time to time we have to use this one as the main one, but we have also use the other one as a side dish. Okay, so now what am I going to do now is I try to give you the second book. So bear with me. I'm going to give you the second book. So now here's some idea about first book. Let me go through the first 4 chapter briefly, and then I'll give you the another book, and we'll go through the main content of the other book as well. Then you have some basic idea what you are going to learn. Otherwise, you have no idea what you're going to deal with. Okay, so the chapter 2 in this book is about distance measurement. Okay, it's very practical. How to measure distance, and it's also very basic and also fundamental. If you don't know how to use it, and then you can use tape, use a different kind of measurement. You can use something called substance, and many different ways. You can use EDM. It's called electromagnetic distance measurement. All sorts of ways measuring the distance. You can use a laser as well. So we'll come to this bit. It's a practical one, distance measurement. And of course, you have to combine chapter 1 and the chapter 2 as well. When you come to the chapter 2, we have a distance measurement. You have to think about what kind of error it might occur and how am I going to deal with this error. If you use a machine and you can't explain the error, machine, and after measurement, people tend to ask you, how am I going to trust your measurement is correct or is almost correct? You got to give you a proper explanation. So in this case, you have to let them know your measurement is based on how much error. So for example, if you go to the supermarket, you order a pack of chips, and a pack of chips, then on the content you will see is let's see 50 gram plus minus 0.5 gram. You won't see exactly it says it's a 50 gram because it's their responsibility to tell you there is an error in the pack of the chip. So that's the way it is for your surveying as well. So the idea is all the same. You got to, but how do you know the 0.1 gram on the pack is correct one, is a proper one? Then in this case, you need to know something about we call the theory of error. So it's based on theory of error. Then you can write down the error is plus minus 0.1. And the theory of error basically is based on statistics as well. So we'll go to statistics, basic one, not hard one or deep one, basic statistics as well. That will be our first priority, the basic statistics. Okay, and then let's come to the chapter 3 about leveling. Leveling, it means here to justify how to do the level, and of course you have a leveler, and so chapter 3 is very practical as well. They'll show you how to do the leveling. So from time to time you can see people wearing head caps and holding rod. It's indeed they are doing some leveling. So this is a very groundbreaking stuff, and so very basic one. So we'll come to this bit as well, the leveling. The first chapter, the other line, I mentioned the other line before. So we'll talk about it. And by the way, this book seems you don't have a GPS measuring, and that will serious fault in all the surveying. So let me see when this book was published. Let me see. So this book was published, I guess, around, it's here. It's 2005. So 2005, now is 2020. So this book was 15 years ago. 15 years ago, you don't have a GPS. I doubt it. I think probably this author doesn't cover it. Maybe it's not his expertise. But anyway, we'll incorporate GPS into the whole system. Otherwise, we don't call it surveying. You sometimes you not only use GPS. GPS is quite. You see some of the drone. Some of the drone, if you have if they wear the camera and the position with GPS, you can almost accurately, precisely measure the area of a patch of land, or you can measure distance. Over a bit like Google. Google sometimes they drive a car and just rolling all streets to get all the information. I think the idea is all the same. They have to resort to GPS as well. So GPS in measuring is very important. We'll come to that bit as well. So, so far, how do you feel? I mean, the whole things. How about my my English or anything? So, do you have any difficulty hearing my English or what? So far, how do you feel? Give me some feedback, and then I'll come to another book. Okay. So we come to great. Thank you for your compliment. So we'll come to the other book. Welcome to the other book. Okay, you can understand very well. That's good. All right, let's come to the other book. Okay, so I'll send you this book as well. Oh, not this one, the other one. So let me see. I think it's this one. Let me make sure. Yes, I don't have any other book. Yes, not much. Must be this book. Everything is fine. Very good. So I'll drag this book, and then you can. This might be just a supplement to the main book. So from time to time, we all pick up this book, and so hopefully this book have a GPS. And so I'm uploading this book, and so meanwhile I'll open this book, and we can all the down. I don't know why. It seems okay. Maybe it's overloaded because I open. Yes. You have to bear with me a little. The computer is not really, so sometimes uh, it's stuck and trapped in some place. Okay. Uh, Supplement. The supplement book. This book. I mean, you really see me. Could you see the this book? Company is the whole system is slowing down. I can't even see the PDF I just opened. I think open it. So that will be a huge problem. So maybe it's loading some file